Hi, and welcome to this week's episode of Extra Serving, a Nation's Restaurant News podcast. I'm your host, Holly Petre, here with the latest episode. And now it's time to introduce my lovely, lovely co-host for this episode.
Two lovelies, that feels great. I am Sam Oches, Editor-in-Chief of Nation's Restaurant News.
Leigh Zinsmeister.
And I am Senior Food and Beverage Editor Bret Thorn.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to today's episode.
Thanks, Holly.
Glad to be here.
So what have you guys been up to? Tell me all the hot gossip.
Hot gossip.
Always hot gossip, and I feel like we never have.
We're pretty boring people. No gossip.
No,
Oh, can I you guys are. Can I just talk about real quick you guys are probably sick of me talking about this, but I want to talk about the show The Bear. Can we talk about this? Because nobody responded to my Slack thing, and yet as I watched that show, I'm like, I hope my whole team is watching this show, but nobody seemed to really care. Bret, you should watch it especially. Do you guys know the premise?
My social media is excited about The Bear. I'm not watching it. I mean, I'm not refusing. I just haven't watched it. But you're saying I should. What service is it on?
Well, it aired originally on FX, but now I access it through Hulu. All of the episodes are on Hulu. But I think it's a very realistic restaurant show. Let's just say that. It's fiction. It's not a reality restaurant show. It is a fictionalized version of a restaurant kitchen that I have not worked in a restaurant kitchen. I'll be honest and just say I have not worked in a restaurant kitchen, but everybody I'm seeing is saying it's a very realistic take on restaurants. But I think the reason I kept thinking, I hope my team is watching this, is there's just lots of little nuggets in there that I think are amusing to people in the know in the restaurant industry that other people wouldn't catch. And there's a very funny moment where they bemoan that a Sweetgreen is moving in next door that just felt like, that's kind of funny. But not everybody gets it, right? So anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there. I wanted to get into a little bit of pop culture to start the podcast.
Thank you. Yesterday we shot a video edition of Menu Tracker, and we had the latest Sweetgreen offerings. One of them, salad. It's
How was
good
that?
Food.
It was my favorite of the, what did we have, 4 fast casual salads yesterday? Or 3 in a QSR, and it was my favorite salad of the salads.
The greens were crunchy.
They do make good food. I think the comment in the show was basically the neighborhood was gentrifying, and the notice that, or the acknowledging that Sweetgreen was moving in was there goes the neighborhood kind of a thing, which, no offense to Sweetgreen, they make great food. I like Sweetgreen a good deal, but, it kind of is I get that reference,
Yes.
Well, I've been staying with my parents a lot recently, and so when I go there, I watch MasterChef. So I've been catching up on MasterChef a lot. I quite enjoy the show.
I'm shuddering and shaking my head.
Anybody else?
That's a Gordon Ramsay movie.
Yes, it's the Gordon Ramsay show.
My flesh starts to crawl off of my body if I see Gordon Ramsay on television.
Same. Yeah, my current pop culture references are not restaurant related, so when I'm done with work, I need to look at things that have nothing to do with work.
We could then talk about, so what about Stranger Things? So I finished Stranger Things last night, the latest season, best season in my opinion for those Stranger Things fans out there. But they have some fun restaurant references in there too. There was a ongoing pizza truck character person throughout the season. I don't know. There are restaurant connections in that show. So why don't you go watch that, Leanne? You can watch Stranger Things and feel like it's work.
I've been told by...
Is Domino's featured?
What?
No, Leanne, you go. I had a silly question.
I've been told by people who know me even better than the three of you that any episode of Stranger Things will give me nightmares, and that the most recent season is actually the most terrifying. So I will not be watching. That's a show that my roommate will turn off if I walk in the room.
Interesting.
And I trust her judgment on that, and a couple other friends who have told me the same thing. So I will not be watching Stranger Things. No.
Fair enough. I am sensitive to horror, and I don't like the horror genre at all. But I have found Stranger Things palatable because it balances it with a little bit of the E.T. level teenage angsty stuff. I don't know. That's my plug. But yeah, it's dark. The
I
latest
love
season's
horror.
dark.
I love darkness. I will watch it eventually. These days, I'm just keep rewatching old episodes of Rick and Morty for some reason.
It's a very
really
Bret
on the
show.
Rick and Morty kick. You've mentioned that on this podcast before
Yeah,
that you're a Rick and Morty fan. So
It's great. It's
Yeah.
insightful. Not a lot of
Yeah.
food. There is one episode in which, in a different universe that has telepathic spiders, a piece of cord is formed between the humans and the spiders, and so now the ice cream, which was the best ice cream in the multiverse, has flies in it now because it needs to be palatable to humans and arachnids.
food related. Yeah. Food
Related,
tangential. Food. Yeah. Something like that.
Definitely food related.
Food adjacent.
A little food scary.
Yeah, I don't want
Foodborne
to-
illness a little bit.
Ever. Yeah. But I don't have to get along with telepathic
Food horror scary. None of us do, thank goodness.
Do you think
we are not
anybody who
normal.
listens to this podcast comes here for TV recommendations?
Sure.
Yes, I think that's all they
will
come
know.
here for.
They will know.
All right, well, let's get into the news. So Bret, you wrote the story earlier this week. Subway is rolling out this new line of sandwiches. That's their biggest menu update in their 60-year history. So that's pretty exciting
Yeah.
for Subway. It's moving away from their traditional sandwiches. It's actually like a predesigned line of sandwiches. Can you tell us a little about it?
You just did. Yeah, no, it's a dozen curated sandwiches called the Subway series in 4 categories. You got the chicken sandwiches, you got your Italian sandwiches, you got your cheesesteaks, and you got your clubs. And that's what most people order anyway. And what Subway management found in testing these sandwiches, which they did for several months in various markets, was that it made making the sandwiches easier because there were fewer customizations. It increased customer satisfaction because you have these sandwiches that already taste good. Cuts down on labor, makes training easier. So overall, it makes things easier and better for everyone, so they say. And if you want to go in and just get turkey on a roll with mayonnaise, you can do that. But they have these dozen sandwiches that are supposed to be something for everybody, and about half of the people who ordered them didn't change anything. They just said, give me number 2.
Does this feel like the death of the customization era, right? Doesn't this feel a little bit symbolic because 2010, 11, 12, everybody was trying to be the Chipotle of this, that, and the other thing. Customization was in. Everybody talked about how much millennials wanted customization. And I remember thinking when everybody wanted to be the Chipotle of this, that, or the other thing, I remember thinking, well, you really want to be the Subway of this, that, or the other thing, because Subway was the first one that really established customization as a thing, and didn't always get the proper credit I think it maybe deserved. But for basically the original king of customization to say, yeah, maybe we'll go to signature menu items, it feels a little bit symbolic. And quite frankly, I was never a big fan of customization. It makes me anxious to walk in and be forced into 10 different decisions. I don't always know what I want. Another brand that has gone in this direction toward signature items is Kava. And I go into a Kava and look, I'm just not an expert on Greek Mediterranean flavors. And so I don't know what I want and what works together. And I want to go I want that, give me that. A chef made that and I trust them. Instead, they're like, what topping do you want? What flavor dressing do you want? What, blah, blah, blah. And Subway is not that anxiety-inducing because the flavors are fairly straightforward. I've been eating at Subway for my entire life. But I still like this move because I am, call me simple or whatever, but I like to point at a number and say that. I want that. I don't want to then tell you, yes, this, that, point, and anyway. So I may not be the core demographic of Subway. I don't know. But to me, this feels like a smart move. It just feels like the direction that we're going in. It's simplified.
I think you're the core demographic of Subway, Sam.
I think you are too.
Sam, yeah.
Yeah, I definitely. I think I'm probably now the most average American, especially now that I live in Columbus, Ohio. I am the
Which is
average
a
American.
test market for stuff. So, yeah.
With your
Right,
nuclear
exactly.
family.
You're the guy
That's right.
that the marketing guys talk about, the 5-year-old went out with a daughter. Like,
Yep. So all you restaurants out there, just so you know, I'm your core demographic. If you
Well,
want to pick my
I'm
brain,
a
I'm here for it.
Brooklynite and a food expert, so I could be, potentially an insufferable snob. But I just want people to hand me a sandwich too. I don't want to fuss and make all the
There you go.
decisions. In fact, they already did all the research. Just give me my sandwich. There's a ramen place in my neighborhood where you can go in and you can specify the richness of the broth and the thickness of the noodles and like 3 other things. And I go in and I say, I want, the second one. That's it. And I see the server's shoulders just kind of
There you go.
relax when I just say, just give me the regular thing.
Actually, so that's an interesting point too. This is good for labor,
Yes.
right? I mean, for those employees who have to walk down asking questions, making suggestions. That's another thing I was always doing at Kava, which is what would you recommend? What do you think makes sense here? And now they can just like look at the card taped to the thing above their workstation that says the number 2 is these ingredients, and then just slap it together and give it to you. That's it. It's good for labor. So, yeah, you heard it here first. Customization is dead. Long live signature menu items.
Well,
That's a little
let's
dramatic.
dial back the hyperbole a little bit, Sam. I mean, half of the customers didn't change anything in their sandwiches, which meant half of them did. There's always, like for me.
Well, half of them are wrong.
but,
So.
well, even if you say something like, I'd like a number 2 with no tomato, like that,
Which I would do.
building a number 2 from scratch, like.
Yeah. It's
Well, so one place that I think does customization really well, I will say, is Dig, because I think Dig has very few ingredients. It's not as heightened as someplace like a Sweet Green or like a Just Salad, where you have to go and you have to like pick each thing and you have to go down the line when there's so many things. At someplace like a Dig, there's just like you get 2 sides, you get a protein, and you get a base, and that's just kind of it. And I feel like that's a place that does customization really well, because you're not handling all these different ingredients, you're not handling all these different items. It's pretty simple, it's pretty straightforward. There's not that much else to choose from, and I feel like that's a place that does customization well, and it's not anxiety inducing. And I mean, I feel like even I get anxiety at a lot of these places. I totally understand. I totally get it. I get anxiety going up to Kava too, and I love Kava, like with a passion.
Yeah, I should note too, I do as well, and I think their signature menu items are really fantastic, and it was a good move for them. But yeah, I mean, I guess to your point, Holly, it's like customization itself is not the problem. It is the amount of choice. So if you offer like 2 or 3 choices, that's not too big of a deal. But I still remember, I think it was the fast casual pizza places that really harped on this early on, which was, we've got 50 toppings for you to choose from. And I don't need 50 different toppings to choose from on my pizza. I want 5. So yeah, I don't know. I think all of this is pointing to as things simplify in the service model, everybody talks about stripping friction out of the experience, right? As simple as possible for you to get your food. It strikes me that this is moving to the menu too. Keep the menu simple. Keep the decision simple. I mean, the amount of times I press my finger to the screen on my phone to order food, that should be limited. The number of times I have to do that to get my food. So
that's also why the Chipotle menu works so well for customization, because it's a very straightforward, simple menu, and you're not going to mess it up.
Correct.
All the flavors go together well. You might remember that, 15 years ago, Chipotle tried to do a Southeast Asian concept with the same model. And it did not work because, I mean, I lived in Southeast Asia. I know what the flavors are supposed to be like. And I went to one of them, I think they're called Shop House, in D.C., where they originated. And I tried to construct a Northern Thai dish based on the ingredients they had, and it just tasted like chaos when it was all mixed together. The food just didn't go together well. And I'm an informed consumer, so if you're not, you're just gonna have food that doesn't taste good.
It tasted like chaos.
I'm a food writer.
Some people might like the flavors of chaos.
Well, the kids like stuff like that. Energy drinks. I don't know why people like those flavors.
Yeah.
It tastes like sweetened battery acid to me. Kids
these days.
It's like a Four
Drinking,
Loko.
Four Loko.
Four Loko. That's a blast from the past. Hey, should we tell our audience that we lost Leanne? She's gone.
We did lose Leanne. She's gone. She finally gave up on us.
I mean, she's not.
She's like, I can't. She's pro customization. She's like, I cannot.
We
tolerate
just had
this
connectivity issues. That's all. I'm sure she's healthy.
Yes.
She's safe. We promise.
So we're gonna have a dealer's choice here because we are running out of time. So which story would you guys rather talk about? Would you rather talk about Panera ending its merger agreement with Danny Meyer's SPAC, or would you rather talk about Amazon agreeing to a stake in Grubhub's parent company?
I would vote Amazon Grubhub. I have one comment on the Panera SPAC, which is their ticker symbol was going to be the worst ever. Hugs. So to me, it's like, okay, well, now we don't have to deal with hugs. No knock on either of those parties, but felt like a weird match in the beginning, so it's just not happening. So anyway, I would vote Amazon.
Yeah, sure.
Great. So let's talk about Amazon, which agreed to get a 2% stake in Grubhub's parent company, which already resulted in some Prime deals on Grubhub Plus membership. So let's talk about that.
I have two thoughts, and I'm going to hold these two things as truths at the same time. But the first is that Amazon terrifies me and is slowly taking over the world, and this is one more step in that process as they welcome back Leanne just in time for us to talk about Amazon and Grubhub. Anyway, you didn't miss much. Although we thought maybe you were just so horrified by our customization conversation and our so pro customization that you decided to drop off.
It can work. In actuality, it has work. But
yeah, well, at least you're back. We just told the audience that you hated our guts and decided to leave. Here you are.
No.
Might still hate our guts. Yeah. So, I as a Amazon Prime member who has multiple days a week on average, Amazon packages arriving on my front stoop. So, I'm a hypocrite because I think Amazon is evil and taking over the world, but I also do take advantage of their services. And there's a facility close to my house, so I get a lot of like same day things, which is kind of incredible. But this is a smart business move for Amazon, right? Like, so on one hand, evil taking over the world, but on the other hand, like, okay, yeah, I get it, because look, it's going to be, it's a smart business deal for them. They're taking a small stake. They're basically kicking tires, right, to see how this goes. It's great for Grubhub, which was, I think, seeding ground to DoorDash and Uber Eats. Grubhub, sorry, dog is shaking. Grubhub was really, I don't know, I think was becoming a little bit falling behind in the third-party delivery wars. And now here they can have access to what I'm assuming is hundreds of millions of Prime members. It just makes a lot of sense for both parties because they can expand their business, have lots of access to new potential customers, and Amazon can offer food delivery where it could not previously. Anyway, the rest of you share conversations while I let my dog out of my office.
I'm guessing tens of millions, not hundreds of millions, but still, it's a lot. And it's a logical thing that is probably very good for all parties involved. I don't use much of either of them. I do have a little bit of Amazon Prime as I watch The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, but I don't use delivery apps very much. I usually go onto the restaurant's website and see how they want me to get it delivered. And usually it's not one of the mainstream third-party delivery services, so I use whatever they say. And also, I like to go out and get some exercise and eat in a restaurant. So I
That's interesting because at the beginning of the pandemic, I started calling restaurants and asking them how they want me to order as well. And I find that most of them more and more now will say, please just go on Grubhub or whatever. Which is also interesting because Bret and I are neighbors. So we must be frequenting different restaurants. I was going to say, as a consumer, I'm excited for this year of free Grubhub Plus. A year of I'm paying anyway. But for me as a consumer, it's great because I'm going to save money that I would otherwise be spending. Of course, a lot of Grubhub consumers will just be ordering out more than they already do, which is good for Grubhub and ultimately good for restaurants. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'm primarily a DoorDash customer for no particular reason. I exchange a lot of DoorDash gift cards. Like, we give those as gifts to people. They give it to us as gifts because it's a nice gift card. We've had a lot of that since we've moved, and I'm ambivalent on my delivery provider. It's just what restaurants do they have? I will shift to Grubhub now if it means I can get the free year of Grubhub. Sure. I mean, because again, I'm ambivalent. There is no leg up on these services. I have no loyalty to them. It is what restaurants are present on your in your marketplace. So there you go. I'm easy. I'm easy to win over. Give me free
I really only
stuff.
order delivery from two places. One is Antonio's Pizza. Delicious. And I use the Slice app for that. And the other one is Authentic Szechuan Tofu on Fifth, which is just delicious Chinese food. And they are on an app called Beyond Menu, which has a lot of Asian restaurants, and it costs me less, so I assume it costs the restaurants less, and also Authentic Szechuan Tofu on Fifth's website directs me to Beyond Menu. So, and those are the only two places I order from, which really doesn't say anything.
Is that their real name? Is that their full name?
Might be
of
Authentic
the
Szechuan
restaurant?
Tofu, Authentic Tofu Szechuan. I don't know.
Is there an acronym or something? My goodness.
It's one of those traditional mom and pop Chinese restaurants. This one just happens to serve really good Szechuan food. Their mapo tofu is delicious.
Quite a name. I mean, I guess it does all the marketing.
Yeah, I don't normally order from a place named Tofu, just because, like, I'm cool with meatless meals, but that's not my goal.
I have both the DoorDash and the Grubhub app on my phone. Don't know which one I use to order Taco Bell, but I do use one of them to order my Taco Bell, which is the only thing I order for delivery exclusively is Taco Bell.
We go via the Taco Bell app, which I have on my phone. But as I said, I only order from the two places, so I haven't ordered from Taco Bell in a long time.
I have all the apps plus Taco Bell app, the Starbucks app. I've been known to go into different apps and like setting up the same order, and then just it'll be like slightly different prices because fees are different, things like that. And then I just order on whichever app it's cheapest on. But again, that just means Grubhub just got a leg up in my business. So
it feels like a lot of work.
I don't always, but sometimes I'll go into an app and it'll say, it'll be like an hour and 15 minutes for this delivery, and that'll feel like a long time. And another app says they can have it in 20. I really don't know what goes on behind the scenes, but
Me neither.
Brooklyn, man.
Comparison shopping is a sport too. It can be fun.
Yeah. I mean, I don't do it all the time, but if I've got nothing better to do on a Sunday afternoon and I'm just trying to get some tacos, then why not?
Sure.
Brooklyn. I don't understand you guys out
Holly,
there.
you used to...
I would never wait an hour, 15 minutes for food. I'm spoiled out here.
I guess that's my signal to go do something else with
It's very true. That's very true. But so, what are some of the perks of Grubhub Plus? I mean, I'm a little naive to knowing what Grubhub Plus is. Does anybody really know what some of the perks are to being a member of Grubhub Plus?
All I'm aware of is the lack of.
Okay.
And run like $5 an order.
Yeah.
They're not. It'll save save people money in the long run, I think. Otherwise, I've only seen it advertised as having other rewards and benefits, but I don't know what those are. I'll let you
that's
know.
worth it.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
just to not have delivery fees, especially, I don't think it's ever been worth it for me to pay for Grubhub Plus, which I won't say, I don't know. I think it's like a few bucks a month, but I don't think I order enough food for that to be worth it. But for free, yeah.
I thought it was interesting that like instantly you saw this appear on the website. On the Amazon website, that instantly that this was like a thing that happened.
Been in the works probably for a while.
Yeah,
Gotta
but
take
I was just
advantage
like,
of it right away.
I thought that was so interesting that it was an instant, like it was announced and then it was just boom.
It's like when you too just immediately put an album on your phone. It's just like, okay, maybe that's too old a reference for some people, but I'm going a deep cut on that one. But no, the one thing I'll add, the last thing I'll say about this is again, going back to the business part of this and how basically Amazon acquired 2% stake with the potential to go to, I believe it's a 15% stake. I find very interesting because, again, they're kicking tires. They're going to just say, hey, well, how much do people access this and want this and stick with it? Okay, yeah, I'll take a 15%. Oh, yeah, sure, I'll take a 50%. Let's just acquire Grubhub outright. You know, like it feels to me that kind of a process. And Amazon has the clout to pull that off. So,
Well, that's awesome, and can't wait to watch Amazon take over the world and put chips in all of our brains and do frightening things. So.
save it for the conspiracy podcast, Holly.
All right, Bret, why don't you tell us about your interview this week?
This week, actually, I spoke to him a little while ago, but for this episode, I spoke with Friendly's Chief Experience Officer, Roberto De Angelis. And when you think of menu innovation, you do not generally think of Friendly's. But they've done some really crazy stuff. You can now get a burger with fig jam on it. You can get a burger with frico, you know, the kind of griddled cheese crisps from northern Italy. They have a Doritos Cool Ranch chopped cheeseburger, and they have beef stroganoff and another pasta, Tex-Mex Alfredo taco pasta. They never used to have pasta. They added 2 salads, and it turns out people who go to Friendly's like salads. And so I contacted them to say, what the hell are you doing and who can I interview? And they said, Roberto De Angelis. Fascinating guy who also talks about the different demographics that they went after for different menu items. And it's really kind of a deep dive into this menu transformation and understanding American consumers that I think everybody's going to really enjoy.
Great. I mean, that made me hungry just talking about it. So can't wait to hear more.
Yeah,
Thank you all for joining me today. We will see you all in person next week for the podcast.
Woohoo.
Correct.
So
oh, you mean Sam's coming down?
at least
Me.
Sam's coming to
Coming to
town,
town.
so we'll be doing the podcast in person.
Sam is coming to town.
Oh, we even
that
had a
would be good.
song.
Sorry.
Good.
You
Whoa.
can cut that out.
Whoa.
I don't.
That was something. Maybe don't do that again, but that was something.
New extra serving.
I
theme
enjoyed it,
song?
Sam.
Oh yeah. Thanks, Bret.
All right, well, so we'll see you guys next week in person. Until then, enjoy the interview, stay safe, and have a great rest of your day.